It was a quiet night, the kind that feels too heavy, too full of memories. Demet Özdemir sat by the window, her phone in her hand, the city lights reflecting on her face. She had rehearsed the words 1,000 times in her mind. "Should I call him?" she whispered to herself. And that's how it all began, the night that changed everything. For years, fans have speculated about what really happened between Demet and Yaman, the two stars whose on-screen chemistry in Turkish turned into one of Turkey's most talked-about real-life connections. But no one ever truly knew the full story, until now. In a recent, emotional interview, Demet finally broke her silence. Her voice trembled, her eyes glistened with tears as she revisited that night, the night she made the call that was never answered. "I didn't plan it," she said softly. "It was late, maybe around midnight. I had just finished a long day, and for some reason, I couldn't stop thinking about him. Everything we'd gone through, every word we'd left unsaid, it all came back at once. I felt this need to hear his voice, even if just for a moment." She took a deep breath before continuing. "I dialed his number. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it. But he didn't answer. Not that night, not ever." Those words left everyone silent. For years, fans imagined countless scenarios, that they'd parted peacefully, that they were secretly still in touch, or that pride had built an unbreakable wall between them. But Demet's confession revealed something much more human, the pain of love left unresolved. She described how their relationship had never been ordinary. "When you share something that powerful on screen, it becomes difficult to separate fiction from reality," she explained. "We laughed, we argued, we cared deeply. And maybe that's what scared us, it was too real." According to Demet, fame didn't just open doors, it also built walls. After Turkish, everything changed. People stopped seeing us as individuals. We became a symbol of love, of passion, of fantasy. And it's hard to live up to that image. We were both under immense pressure, and eventually, we started drifting apart. But even after the distance grew, Demet admitted that a part of her still held on. "You think you've moved on," she said, her voice cracking slightly, "until one small memory brings everything back. That night, I saw an old clip of us laughing between takes. He looked at me in that way he always did, like time stopped. And I realized I still hadn't let go." Her words were heavy with truth. It wasn't just nostalgia. It was unfinished emotion, the kind that lingers long after love has ended. "I think I expected him to pick up," Demet confessed. "Even if just to say, 'I'm okay.' But when he didn't, I understood something. Sometimes silence is also an answer." The interviewer asked her if she ever tried to reach out again. Demet shook her head. "No. That call was my goodbye. I didn't know it at the time, but maybe it had to end that way." Her honesty struck a chord not only with fans but with anyone who has ever loved someone they couldn't forget. Social media exploded with emotional reactions. Clips from the interview spread across Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram within hours. "She still loves him," one fan wrote. Another said, "You can hear the heartbreak in her voice." But beyond the romantic speculation, there was a deeper message in Demet's confession, about closure, forgiveness, and the courage it takes to face the past. She spoke about how she learned to channel her emotions into her work, how acting became her therapy. "Sometimes I use my characters to say the things I couldn't say in real life," she admitted. "Maybe that's why people feel them so deeply, because they come from somewhere real." When asked if she believed Ken ever thought about her that night, she smiled faintly. "I think he did. Maybe not in the same way, maybe not at that exact moment. But I believe he felt something. We shared too much for it to disappear completely." Her words revealed a quiet strength, the kind that comes only after heartbreak has been lived through, not just felt. "We were young, we were passionate, we made mistakes," she continued. "But I'll never regret it. Some people come into your life to change you forever. He was that person for me." There was a pause, and for a moment, it felt like she was talking directly to him. "If he ever watches this," she said, "I want him to know that I don't blame him. I understand. We were both doing our best. And sometimes, love just isn't enough. Those words captured the essence of maturity, love without bitterness, loss without resentment. Demet's confession was not a plea to reignite the past but a way of making peace with it. Later in the interview, she was asked if she ever wrote him a message that she never sent. She smiled knowingly. "Many," she said. "I have them saved somewhere. Maybe one day I'll read them again. Maybe one day I'll delete them. But not yet." That "not yet" spoke volumes, the kind of quiet truth that lingers long after the cameras stop rolling. What made the moment even more powerful was how Demet spoke not as a celebrity, but as a woman who once loved deeply and lost. She wasn't performing. She wasn't dramatizing. She was remembering, and that made her story universal. By the end of the interview, she reflected on how time had changed her. "If I could go back to that night," she said softly, "I don't think I'd call him. Not because I regret it, but because I understand now, healing doesn't come from answers. It comes from acceptance." Still, she admitted that there's a part of her that will always wonder. "Sometimes, late at night, I still imagine what he would have said if he had picked up. Maybe he would have said he missed me. Maybe he would have just stayed silent. I guess I'll never know." When asked if she had any message for her fans who still believe in their love story, she smiled with genuine warmth. "Love doesn't always end with forever. Sometimes it ends with gratitude. I'm thankful for everything, for what we had, for what we learned, and even for what we lost. It made me who I am." As the cameras stopped recording, the silence in the room was almost sacred. For a woman who had been endlessly analyzed, criticized, and misunderstood, this was her truth, unfiltered, raw, and real. That night, the night she called him, might have ended in silence. But years later, her voice finally found its way through that silence, to every heart that ever waited for a call that never came. And maybe, somewhere, Yaman heard her words, not through the phone, but through the echoes of what they once were. As the night deepened, Demet looked out at the city lights once more, her eyes reflecting not just memories, but peace. "It took me years to realize," she said gently, "that sometimes the greatest love stories don't need an ending, they just need to be remembered with kindness." Her final words resonated with a rare honesty. "We always think closure comes from others, but it really comes from within. I waited for his call for so long, but now, I think I understand why it never came. Life had already moved us in different directions." She paused, smiled faintly, and whispered, "And maybe, that silence, the one I once feared, was life's way of teaching me to let go." And in that silence, Demet Özdemir's story found its voice, tender, real, and unforgettable. Later that night, she posted a simple message on her social media: "Sometimes silence says everything." Within minutes, thousands of comments poured in. Fans felt her pain, her strength, her grace. It wasn't a message for attention, it was closure written in the simplest words. And as dawn approached, Demet finally smiled, knowing that even unanswered calls can lead to the peace we spend years searching for.